And we're back for our second game of our second best of three of the day. Na'Vi facing elimination as of right now against Fnatic, having dropped game one in fairly convincing fashion. Fnatic and Na'Vi really squared off and punched and counter-punched like hell in game one, showing us a 70-plus kill game. 76, I think, was the final total when all was said and done. That only went about 36 minutes, so you're right at 2 kills a minute. But Na'Vi, this time, not about to let Io into the pool. They didn't have much luck with him and not going to give him to Fnatic. Fnatic grabs Era, his Lifestealer, and Visage, who was handled so adeptly by Hani in game one. Going to be back on the playing field as well. They do have Nature's Prophet in as well as Crystal Maiden, though, so we'll see what they build around it. I'm your host here in AC Chambers, joined as always by Ben, Merlini Wu, and I mean, both of us agreed coming out of the draft and on into it. We just knew Na'Vi had a lineup which they had to execute, and really they kind of didn't. They fell flat with the IO pick, Vost on the Bristleback. I mean, it's a nice little pocket pick, but really didn't get a whole lot out of it. And by the time Fnatic built any kind of a lead, there was just no way to play from behind, especially up against 3 Hand of Midases.
Na'Vi's turn to pick.
Bristle is typically like pretty effective, I think, versus like something like Visage Familiars, as well as heroes that are good against Burst, I think, like Weaver, but it just didn't really work out for them. I think it was just a really poor early game with that rotation that mainly set things off going really poorly for them. But still, a very valiant effort by them.
And waiting to see what Na'Vi wants to grab up again. The Chen and Enchantress both were the first 2 bans out from Fnatic, and not going to let Weaver or Luna into the pool either way. And I'm really anxious to see how Na'Vi's going to want to deal with Era's Lifestealer. Lifestealer, obviously, a hero since 6.79, who's fallen heavily out of favor, at least in terms of where he used to be. But at the same time, Era just happens to be so damn good at the hero that Fnatic just continues to draft him and get a lot out of him. A lot of available picks for them as well. I don't know that we'll see a Hani mid-Visage again. That was kind of a interesting little switcheroo, but looking for maybe a Storm Spirit or a Puck pickup to provide a vehicle for Lifestealer bombs. Na'Vi going to go ahead and grab the Alchemist away from Fnatic this time.
Turn to pick.
Yeah, I think the support Alchemist is probably what we're going to see here. Or it could just be a Vost hero. Alchemist as a carry, though, doesn't usually match up very well versus Lifestealer unless you're like way ahead on farm, like a few thousand. And Fnatic, yeah, they pretty much have their tri-lane set right now, unless they do want to run the Visage Familiar mid, or Visage mid, which actually worked out very well for them last game.
Yeah, well, something else they could do, and we saw how effective it could be if they wanted to go ahead and run a 2-core lineup.
Oh, the Fnatic Clinks.
Fnatic Clinks is so good, man. It's so good. And that goes all the way back to, like, last year.
Wait, so what are they going to do with the Nature's Prophet, though?
Yeah, that's... I'm interested to see mid-Nature's Prophet maybe.
I mean, they could just do double roam, like safe lane Clinks, off lane Nature's Prophet, or swap them, and then I would say safe lane Clinks because Na'Vi is dire side right now, and he'll do perfectly fine versus a bounty hunter, and he should maybe be able to survive against a tri lane unless they have like mass entries and dust, but I think he'll do okay in their Nature's Prophet off lane, and then just have a dual roam and make sure you secure Denny's farm in mid because he did not get off to a good start last game, and I think that really hurt them. Bristleback, whatever, if he's in the farm, he can still be somewhat useful just by HP items, but Dendi, he had like a 20-minute Orchid and like a 30-something minute BKB, which is not that bad, but compared to what the opponents had, it was just way too slow.
Oh, yeah, and even slow by Dendi's own standards. Dendi is usually going to be so active on a Storm Spirit that he's going to be able to get things done, and they just really could not do that. They just really didn't have the follow-through to deal with a lot of the survivability issues they were running into against that Fnatic lineup. And now Fnatic looks to take the fight to Na'Vi once again. The Bounty Hunter pickup to go with heroes like Visage, Nyx Assassin, you know they're going to be looking to amass track kills very quickly and looking to ban out their last hero now. I'm really anxious to see how they're going to end up running their lanes this time around. And I mean, Dendi's certainly known as a mid player, but that doesn't mean that's all he can or will do. In fact, we saw him spend some time away from mid in game one as well. So, I mean, you know, Fnatic Clinks is a sure thing. The question is, what lane will that be in? I mean, I've seen Fnatic take Clinks mid before, not any time recently, but it is something that I've seen happen more than a few times. Even seen some nutty stuff like mid Nature's Prophet. That's not completely unheard of. It just all depends on how they want to round this lineup out. The big problem they have right now is how thin they're going to feel until a couple of big items come up, until they get Clinks his Orchid, until they get the Prophet, whatever item he wants to build. Is it going to be a flex or a versatility kind of a Prophet that ends up building an early mech? Is it going to be an old school Prophet that goes with a Shadow Blade for a little extra damage, what have you? They're still going to need some time to get their legs underneath them, whereas Fnatic at level 6 is going to be able to just go.
Yeah, and with a Bounty Hunter pickup too, Clinks isn't going to have the easiest time. Neither does Nature's Prophet. I think the Bounty Hunter pickup is really, really nice coming out from Fnatic, and they have good supports too. So I would say I like Fnatic's lineup a little bit more. It does depend on the mid matchup, but I expect it to be something pretty standard there.
And Na'Vi looking to grab up a last hero now, and one would imagine they're going to be looking to grab Dindy as hero now. But it's still pretty tough to tell. I mean, Havost on the Alchemist, but as you said, support Alchemist certainly an option as well. They could end up protecting the Clinks a hell of a lot just to make sure that he finds his farm early on. Because they do know, without any doubt, that, yep, there's going to be Dindy's TA. So I actually really like that pickup. Gives them a little bit of punching power early on in the mid-game and on through the mid-game, just in case Clinks and Prophet do have some time, do have some issues getting up and running the way they would like. And they know they're going to be under a mass assault coming out from Fnatic as soon as Nyx Assassin hits 6, as soon as Bounty Hunter hits 6, as soon as Era's Lifestealer finds whatever item he decides to go with first, phase Armlet, phase Drums, what have you. And just gives them a nice way to try and deal, especially with the Lifestealer who doesn't have the best base armor in the world to begin with. And it's a nice way you can just reliably bring him down with physical damage.
I like Navi's lineup versus Lifestealer though. Like TA, Clinks, they can all do very, very well versus Lifestealer during Rage, and Nature's Prophet can also sprout him too. So Lifestealer is not going to have the easiest time, but ooh, the Pudge, whoa.
That's a fun pick. So Pudge grabbed up, and will be Hani on the big guy. So this is definitely going to be a go out and get kills early kind of a team, and how it's honestly kind of a rarity to see Pudge picked up by anyone but Na'Vi when Na'Vi's on the field. So Fnatic trying their hand at Pudge, and I want to say you and I actually saw Fnatic draft Pudge once or twice throughout the regular season group stage, if I'm not mistaken, and pretty sure Hani was hit and miss both figuratively and literally in both of those appearances. And waiting for the teams to load in. If you're just tuning in, once again, just a reminder.
Yes.
Just a reminder that this is our second best of 3 of the day, our final Western best of 3 of today. And the winner of this will advance to meet Team Liquid in our best of 5 playoff grand finals here in our bubble race format. And for the uninitiated, every match is an elimination match here in the bubble race. That goes for East and West. And speaking of East, we'll be getting that action underway just a few hours from now as well, leading off with Tongfu versus DK, kicking off at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So hope you guys will join us for that. For now, though, a lot of fun on the way. A lot of early fighting and a big guy swinging a big old hook on the side of Fnatic. Actually has a real fun stat there. Fnatic and Na'Vi have both played 8 times in the last 2 weeks, and they split those 4-4 so far. So taking a look at the lineups early on, we can see Fnatic not going to have Hani on Visage this time around. This time it'll be Fly with Nyx Assassin, handled by No-Tail. The Lifestealer will be played by Era. No surprise there. One of the best in the West at that particular hero. Trixie will be playing on our Bounty Hunter with Hani taking Pudge mid. On the other side of the river, we got Puppy handling our Crystal Maid. The Clinks will actually be farmed by Havost. Now, that's really interesting. We'll come back around to that in a minute. Dindy will be on the Templar Assassin. The Alchemist is going to be played from the support position, Kuroki. And Fnatic going to be playing on the Nature's Prophet. Now, it's not the biggest surprise in the world to see the Nature's Prophet played by Fnatic, but Clinks by far one of Fnatic's best heroes. This time, though, they're just going to hand him to Havost and tell him to just farm away.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they did go with that option, but I guess it would make their lanes pretty weird if they ran Kuroki or if they ran the Alchemist as a carry instead. But TA versus Pudge, Pudge can get off to a pretty snowbally lineup, but Pudge really has to make some big plays in the early game. Once it gets past like the early game, I think Dendi should be able to be okay, especially if you can get like a double refract up, first refract to tank the Pudge hook and the second refract during the combo from Hani. But yeah, Hani's going to have his work cut out for him, and he is very likely to, or it is very likely that he may just not do so well in laning phase, and then will just crush him later.
And all going to be about the hooks. And wow, KuroKy actually manages to find first blood at top as they dropped a sentry down in the lane and managed to bring him down. So Trixie certainly not off to the start he wants.
Oh, mid.
And here in mid, we're actually going to see, wow, I guess the question of whether or not Hani was going to be able to get a good start, that's been answered.
Yeah, he needs a TP scroll, and KuroKy bought him a TP scroll. He has to keep it up in levels. Right now, level 1 TA versus level 3 Pudge, and Pudge is really good at the early levels because Refraction doesn't have that many instances, and Dendi, I'm pretty sure he's played this match before, and he should know that you pretty much just have to get like level 3, level 4, and after that it should be okay, but you cannot fall behind in this matchup on either side.
And Fnatic taking some damage down here at bottom. A lot of kill potential pretty much everywhere on the map, especially if either of the offlane heroes, the Bounty Hunter or the Nature's Prophet, take a step out of position. But already big advantage going the way of Hani in particular. He's already just about level 4. He's almost one full level ahead of Dendi at this point.
I would like to see Na'Vi pick up Pudge, but Fnatic has some pretty big balls going for that, especially especially in a matchup that matters as much. But I think it's, if they win, they're going to win in style.
Oh yeah, and again, I'm pretty sure we saw them do this throughout the regular season. I can't really remember. I want to say we saw it once or twice, and it was a little bit hit and miss. But so far, it's 1-1, and Fnatic getting the free farm for Era they won. He's leading the board in terms of CS. Certainly the same is the case on the side of Na'Vi, as Havos is making very nice progress towards his items. Looks like he's going to get an Aquila up first and foremost. No huge surprise there. And the question is going to be is how quickly is Hani going to decide to get active? And look at this. Dendi turns and throws a meld out on the big guy. He's still got a lot of regen, though. Salve, tangos, whatever. He can afford to play a little riskily.
Yeah, he is definitely okay in that lane. Trixie may actually roam mid and try and get another kill on Dendi too. And they have a ward set up. I don't believe he'll spot him. Nope, he's actually just going to stick on top.
And we can see Puppy's actually in position. Now here comes KuroKy. And they don't have a smoke. They do have a dust. And we'll see if they want to try to make something happen. In the meantime,
is the hook going to come out?
Dendi trying to dodge it. Caught out. Uses refraction immediately. Here comes the help. KuroKy's right there. Unstable concoction thrown uphill. And Hani should be able to make it out of the acid spray and will. So both sides kind of baiting each other out that time. And the reactions were there to the tune of a break even. And we actually see Hani throwing out a hook, say, you know what, I'm going to walk back to base. I'm going to get one more CS on the way.
Yeah, that was a nice reaction from Hani, though. As soon as he saw the Alchemist, he knew he was going to die if he stuck around. He got unstable concoction, but he was like well within the range of the tower. So very nice play from him. He is on top of his game today.
And
Trixie stalking Puppy.
Let's see. There we go. Trixie doing what damage you can. Actually, Puppy blows a clarity in the process of that. Trixie's right behind him. And here comes some help. There's the dust, and they're going to bring the Prophet up. There's the frostbite, and Trixie playing a little too brave. Ends up being the second kill for Na'Vi. And you simply can't do that. You can't just draw out 1 versus 1s whenever you have a Nature's Prophet on the board.
Yeah, that was very risky, I'd say.
Havos, in the meantime, certainly happy about the way the early game's going. He actually is falling behind Era a little bit in terms of pure CS. Era, does he have something on the way to him? One would imagine. Yep, that's going to be his Midas.
Watch Dendi in mid.
And Dendi going toe-to-toe with Hani. They both got help once again. And they're going to look for a hook. Hani thought about it a couple of times. Trixie going to go ahead and spot him and give him a little bit of vision. Sees Puppy. Pretty sure he was in range there. And Hani continuing to just look for that hook. Looks like Trixie will go ahead and bail out, head elsewhere. Meantime, down at bottom, No-Tail trying to find his level 6 as quickly as he can. He's just level 3.5 at the moment. Here comes Puppy up mid lane. And Fnatic has rotated into the jungle purely now, not really liking the way this bottom lane was treating him, recognizing a lot of kill potential was going to be there. Havost Yep, Havos is going to be getting a Midas of his own, so going to be coming out probably a little later than Arrows, but still comparable.
Yeah, Navi's handling this early game very well.
Hani engaged on, and they should be able to get him. They've got help on the way. That's going to be No Tail. Throws a 2-man Impale out, but the damage just isn't there. It's 4-on-2 at this point. They may get Fly and will, as he's tracked down following the side trap. They do manage to trade away the Alchemist for it, though. So a 2-for-1. Not the best and not the worst. Era and Havos both still not coming to fights as of right now, and the Midas has actually come out right on top of each other. So as of right now, we can see Na'Vi is actually just flat out winning in terms of pure mechanics. They're coming up. I mean, they're doubling them up in kills, and that's very nice. But they've amassed almost a 3,000 gold lead already.
Dendy's getting a lot more help in mid than Fnatic is, and that's definitely the right response, especially when Pudge gets an early kill on Templar Assassin. You cannot leave the TA alone, and they've come in with Alchemist, I think, like twice now. They come in with CM, they come in with Nature's Prophet, so they're doing the right thing, and keeping Hani down is just so important. And he's way under farm Pudge. He has 16 CS. Dendy doubles him up in CS right now.
And a lot more movement taking place now. Trixie still not level 6, but is beginning to poke his nose around mid a little bit. Diddy playing very safe. Already dodged one hook out here in mid. And we're going to see Trixie move on into the jungle, go looking for a kill. Poppy the closest target just around the corner. Havos, though, just continuing to farm and farm and farm. He's actually back on top of Era in terms of pure CS. CS 46 to 42 now.
And things are not looking good for Fnatic now. They need to make something happen relatively soon. I think they can't play the farm game, not with a Klings, not with a TA and a Nature's Prophet. They just have too much split push potential, too much gank potential, and their farm potential is also going to be really high too with 2 Midases.
And we can see them trying to make things happen across the board. Havos is already beginning to get kind of scary, though. Midas already done, has an Aquila done as soon as he wants it. And Puppy, not quite level 6 yet, but getting very, very close. And going to go and spin the Frostbite on the Trixie. Here comes help. Nature's Prophet's there. And the Sprout off the mark, but doesn't matter as they bring him down for free. Funnick's actually going to be getting himself a Midas as well. So if they're not going to go mass Midas on the side of Fnatic this time, they had better start getting a lot more out of Hani, and they better start bringing Era to fights.
Yep.
And they're going to go ahead and dive on Fly. He's blown up with one more meld. Trixie comes in.
Pretty much just like a melted and a concoction, and he's dead. So much minus armor, though. It's really brutal for Fnatic to deal with, especially on low armor heroes like Pudge and Visage. They're going to have such a hard time surviving any of these engagements.
Trying to trade the tier 1 away on bottom. They will give up their own. Alchemist will head back, and he'll be there in plenty of time. Just not enough push power there with Era and No Tail. And Na'Vi continues to extend their lead. Another hand of Midas is up. We're at plus 5,000 now in favor of them. And as we can see, the Midas Eye coming very quickly at bottom. Looks like Era trying to make something happen behind. Kuroki, though, able to keep himself safe at least for the moment. He will be building a medallion as well.
Yeah, they can do Roshan really fast, and that's one of the things about an early Klings pick or a Klings pick in general, and especially them being on Dire with Nature's Prophet, with TA too, they can just melt Roshan. And to be honest, Fnatic can't really do anything about it. Maybe with some cheeky Visage play, or maybe with a nice Pudge hook they can do something, or maybe if they don't have sentries, but it is going to be a long shot for them to defend the impending Roshan.
Dindy making his way over under cover of an Invis rune. Has 2 targets. Era and No Tail if he wants to go for it. No Tail just short of 6. And unless his reaction is stupid quick. Yep, there it is. I was going to say he'll be caught with a mail. Throws out the Impale. Era's there. And doesn't spin the open wounds. And instead just trying to be a little scary. Hani has made his way over as well, but won't be able to find the hook he's looking for. And Fly in the meantime coming over into mid looking to soak some experience and get a desperately needed level 6.
No way.
Yep, BKB should be coming out soon. 2 for Dendy. And Smoke on Alchemist, they should be setting up for the Roshan pretty darn soon. And Hani, after that 1 kill on Dendy, he just really hasn't done anything. And that is definitely a problem when you go with a Pudge pick. Like, you have to make use of him early because he's not the sit back and play passively sort of hero.
Yeah, very much agree. We have seen next to nothing out of him. And there's just no reason to draft him if you're not going to be getting a roam him very early. Roche going down very quickly, even though it is just Dindy, Kuroki, and Funnick down here. Going to be another Midas coming out on Puppy as well. So Mass Might is the name of the game here in Game 2, just as it was in Game 1. This time, though, shoes on the other foot. Roshan will be dropping at just past 10.5 minutes.
They don't even need clings for that.
Yep.
Roshan has fallen to the forever.
And Havost already with one Oblivion staff up and
There's
already
smoke from Fnatic.
very good. Oh, there's a hook. They need this desperately. Slowing him down and a very, very needed kill. Dindy rotates his way in. And they need to take another fight. They need to start getting hooks here. And there's the track on the Dindy. Hani wandering down the look for one. Gonna throw it blind. Came up just short. Dindy just barely out of range there.
Yep, and right now, Fnatic just needs to keep looking for kills. Infest inside Nyx Assassin, infest inside Bounty Hunter, infest inside Pudge. Just get kills around the map. Don't go for Dendi because he has a Aegis. Maybe if you can pull him aside with a hook when he's out of position, then you can kill him twice.
There's the hook. That's the combination they've been looking for. Got the track off on it as well. No
nice
tail.
By no tail, though.
Yep, that was very, very nice. And just like that, Fnatic beginning to close the gap a little bit. They really need level 11 on Bounty, though, before they can begin to really put a huge dent into it. But as we can see, they've at least stopped the bleeding, even if they haven't quite cauterized the wound.
Yeah, Klink's almost has his Orchid, too. He's just a robe and a recipe away. So 1,000 gold, that should be coming out in the next 2 minutes or so. Another smoke by Pudge. This is exactly what they need to do. Burn through all your smokes. Just get some track kills. Get back in the game. Get some small items out, like a Drums on Lifestealer, which is what they have right now. They already have the arcane boots on Nyx Assassin, maybe like a medallion on Visage, and just keep trying to fight and try and trade evenly with Na'Vi right now. But again, just try and shy away from fighting with Dendi because the Aegis is gonna make them trade very, very poorly.
And he's still hanging around mid here and still looking for hooks. Feel like they need to be moving as a bigger group more often and trying to make things happen on the back of this Pudge pick a bit more. As it stands, as you said, the Orchid pretty much done, all but done at this point, so we'll have that momentarily. Era, Drums, FaZe, Midas really needs to start getting involved. As of right now, just has not been that big of a factor.
Yeah, they just they're playing passively right now. They're like, trying to stack and stuff with Fly, but really this is all about getting kills in the early game because their late game is just going to be very, very poor. Lifesteal cannot outcarry these at all. Like, I think even Klinks can just solo him at this point. Klinks is an easy kill on Bounty Hunter. That should be his Orchid in about 100 gold, and Puppey picked up some dust from him. Very nice from him. Looks like Nature's Prophet is going to go for a Necro book as well against these double Invis heroes, and we see No Tail with the payload inside of him. This will cut down on his farm, but if they get a kill, it is completely worth it. Kuroki has a sentry plopped in mid, though, so he should be okay, unless No Tail approaches from the top side.
And here we go. Kuro in some trouble. Impel will be shot, and out comes the Infest from Era. There's a Frostbite to try and buy some time. Hook's going to be off the mark. Shame for Hani there. He connects there, makes that a 2-for-1. That's a much, much bigger engagement. As it stands, they do manage to bring one down, though. And in the meantime, Havost has completed his Orchid, so he's going to, without a doubt, be looking to get more involved. And he might just spot out Trixie, depending on, yep, they're right on top of each other, being pinged out by both sides. And in the meantime, a little bit of trading of the pain here in mid. Sentries down on both sides, and Hani going to be silenced out by Havost as he strafes and does damage from the high ground. Easy kill for him. Trixie threw out a track. In the meantime, behind the fight, Puppey caught out. Now we're going to see the Impale catch two. Immediate firing of the Unstable Concoction, though, makes that another big win for Na'Vi. Fly pursued out. Dindy going to be dismembered and buy just enough time for Fly to escape. Now Hani has to run. Era's right behind him, though. Oh, the hook pulled Era back.
That was actually good for him because if he didn't get hooked there, he would have died to Dendi with the meld and the Unstable Concoction as well. Medallion, he would have just been blown up. So I don't think he planned it out like that, but it did work out for him.
Thought he had Rage on cooldown or off cooldown. If he did, thought he would have been all right. As it stands, though, 10-6. Fnatic trying desperately to make things happen, but so far Na'Vi just has been able to sniff it out. And I mean, at this point, do you feel like they've gone too long? I mean, the Midases are beginning to kick in already because they came out very, very quickly. You're talking about a 10,000 gold deficit, 10,000 experience deficit. Is this the kind of lineup that we talk about all the time, really, where you kind of pick yourself into a corner? They just haven't gotten enough out of Hani.
It's been way too long. Like, they should have moved around earlier with Visage and Nyx when CM and stuff rotated, but this was way before level 6, Dendy using his Aegis up.
And
oh, wow, he did not need to use his BKB there.
And now Puppey brought down, and there's an impale on the Dindy, the immediate track. Another hook brings Era out of the fight. And for sure, that wasn't intentional. No Tail continuing to move around, spotted out and cleaned up. Medallion just making the damage output in terms of physical DPS way too high. Fly serving his bait. Puppey's going to go ahead and use Freezing Field. And Era eating a lot of damage through it. Havost is there to clean up with Strafe. And Puppey actually manages to make it away. And this game, honestly, has reached the point of out of control already. I don't know what Fnatic can do. You're talking just level 8 on Trixie right now. The track kills have been slow in coming, and honestly, Hani has been almost a non-factor.
Yeah, I mean, aside from that early first kill, Hani about to eat an unstable concoction.
And the follow-up Orchid. And Havost is just going on an absolute tear at this point. Sitting at 6-1 now. Looks like they did manage to track down Puppey. And yeah, heard a Janata go off, so going to guess that was Trixie. But at this point, I mean, Navi's just in complete control of the map. They're really setting the tone. And, you know, whenever there's a Pudge on the map, he should make you terrified. And I don't think Navi's felt that for 1 minute so far.
No, they've not. I mean, it's just like any other hero would have done the same thing. And you can tell that they're not really scared at all. And yeah, they have some nice setups with Nyx stun into a Pudge hook, but for the most part, the Pudge pick has not been going too well for them. They could have just as well done like a Venomancer or a Darkseer mid and to shut down Dendy, and it would have been much better for them in the mid game.
Trixie could be in some trouble if Avos gets on top of him. And he's going to come back out. And Avos just waiting patiently now. And Trixie will show himself. Now Avos immediately turns. There's the Orchid. And the strafe damage. There's a hook, though. And they're going to be able to clean up Avos. So Fnatic able to bait one out and get a fairly decent kill. Now, it's going to take a lot more than that, but it's certainly a step in the right direction.
Yeah, there wasn't even track kill, too, because he was Orchided up. No Tail misses a stun on Poppy. Era is inside of him.
Yep, and now the follow-up Frostbite as Dindy comes in. Fnatic TP's in as well. He actually smoked, and the hook is there. Will be, no. Unstable concoction thrown just a little too early. And now Hani eating a lot of damage from Dindy. Dindy always seems to have a haste rune or an invis when he plays TA in particular. And another unstable...
He has a gem on him, too.
Another unstable concoction up, and there's going to be a hook. Dindy baited it out, and they're going to try to engage. He's going to be brought down. Wow, BKB for absolutely no reason. Now Kuroki caught with the open wounds, and this will be a track kill if they manage to get him. And the Frostbite might buy time. Nope, Shuriken toss is there. Now Puppey looking to do some damage and will drop before he's able to bring anyone down. So just like...
BKB was just not effective at all. Both of his BKBs have just not been good.
Yep. And just like that, Fnatic is somehow making a game of it. There's book 3 done on Fnatic, so that's certainly a big help. But we could see, I mean, it's pretty much out of control, but Fnatic at the very least showing us signs of life, showing us a pulse.
Yeah, and I mean, TA was playing very, very carefully, like with his haste, and then he just decided to go in without that many refract charges, without it off cooldown, without using BKB, without an Aegis, and withholding the gem too. Then he just a little bit of overextension there. Maybe if they had Nature's Prophet TP in, or Klink's there to tank with a Death Pact, but Klink's had already died on the left side, so that's just clear overextension from them. They can just wait for the next Roshan, and we'll be coming up in about 2 minutes time.
As you mentioned, Roche up very soon. $145 according to our handy dandy counter. I want to once again thank Nahaz Dota for joining us to bring us stats. First time he's been with us today, and I think he's going to be with us throughout the rest of the day as well. So make sure you check him out on Twitter. And great stats guy. Been a real pleasure working with him throughout this season. We can see Fnatic now beginning to spend a lot more time running as 5, and they know this is the only chance they have. They're going to have to take not just one, not just two, but multiple engagements off the back of some good hooks or some Vendetta, Nakes bombs, something along those lines. Havost already has his Crystallis done, so his damage output is beginning to get very, very tough to deal with.
Mm-hmm. And we haven't really seen too much of Fnatic this game. 1-0-7 on him. He hasn't died yet, which is pretty impressive considering Nyx Assassin and Bounty Hunter can pick him off with a Lifestealer inside. But with the gem, I think that Fnatic should just keep going at it. They caught a pretty big break there. They can just dump the gem inside a base or just use it to kill Clinks, and they need more kills to get back in the game. It is not a passive sit back and farm. Even though they did catch a little bit of the breather there, they can't contest this next Roshan. Even with a one good team fight right now, they can't do it. I think Na'Vi can buy it back, and with a Necro 3 on Nature's Prophet pressuring left side, they're gonna have to defend that.
Track on the Dindy, we see No Tail is locked and loaded. Up the top, Fnatic's actually going to be hooked out by Hani, who managed to get around behind him. And that will be a track kill. So adding more stacks of flesh heat, just what they need the most. Unable to stop.
Easy Roshan, though. It's going to respawn in like 10 seconds. They know that it's close to the end of the timer.
Yep. Actually setting the courier in. As Dindy takes the Ancients. But, again, Fnatic trying to hang around as best they can. It's pretty much a one step forward, two steps back kind of situation, though, and that's exactly what we're going to see right here.
Yep. This thing's just going to melt, too, and has CM gone for Midas too? Yes, he has, and I mean, even Kuroki's decently farmed at this point. Trez and Medallion and 1,500 gold. That is very farm for a support Alchemist.
Na'Vi in a position where they could just about begin to run over Fnatic. They have to be a little bit careful, at least for now, just because of the threat of Pudge hooks. But, I mean, you take a look at where these teams sit just in terms of pure net worth, and 3 of the top 4 all belonging to Na'Vi. Era barely outclassing Dindy at this point, with Fnatic and Havos both very, very high on the board, sitting in the 1 and 2 position. So, and Era, once again, just, I mean, this is the thing about a Lifestealer. He works in a lot of situations, but whenever you pick his supporting cast as a Pudge, and Pudge just isn't hitting that many hooks, you're just not going to get a whole lot done with him.
Yeah, Clinks is super stacked too. He almost has his BKB, he has Orchid, he has Chrysalis, Midas, Aegis. The items are just pouring in for Avos, and I had some slight doubts about him playing it, but it seems to be doing very well on that. Trixie.
And Trixie will be able to make it away. Frostbite was a little late coming out from Puppey, but Dindy did manage to pick off the courier. In the meantime, we're going to see a hook snagging out Puppey, so looking for a return kill. Hani pops his haster and has another hook up in 5 seconds if he wants to spend it in pursuit of someone. Looks like that's the plan. He's going to force staff down to the low ground. In the meantime, it looks like Clinks manages to find a kill behind the fight down at bottom. And Era even going to be forced back. It's BKB done on Havos now. Fnatic has closed the kill gap fairly decently. But not sure what the issue is. Hopefully we'll be back underway in just a minute. But
where did the gem go? Did the gem get... Oh, gem got picked up by the chicken. So I guess Nyx Assassin dropped it when he had Lifestealer inside of him.
Yep. Just about 20,000 gold, the deficit Fnatic faces. So in both games 1 and games 2, it's been pretty lopsided affairs. And Na'Vi battling back, and by all accounts, will be looking to force a game 3 unless there can be some miracle pulled off by Fnatic. And chat trivia, who are the only 2 players with more than 15 wins is Clinks and competitive Dota. The only 2 players... who's your guess?
Obviously Fnatic.
Obviously Fnatic. And I'm going to go with probably, I got to go with Black.
Black?
Yep.
I don't think I've ever seen him play
Clinks. You never seen him play Clinks? Couple of times.
Scandal? Does Scandal play Clinks? One of those CIS players. I would probably guess Scandal. And
I guess Havost. I'm pretty sure we saw a stat earlier. I wasn't really reading, but I'm pretty sure we saw a stat where Havost had a pretty high win rate too. But Black used to play a lot of Clinks way back in the day. And we'll find out. Thanks to our good buddy Nahaz. But yeah, this game looking to be on its way out as Havost just continues to build and build and build on this lead he has.
Yeah, they have Ghost Scepters on the Visage and the Bounty Hunter, which are pretty good pickups. They have like almost all physical damage. If Na'Vi gets a Sheep Stick, though, then Fnatic doesn't really have anything going for them unless they farm up Mass Force Staff. So it's it's still very difficult though. They can just like survive, but can they actually kill? Unless they get some like sick punch hooks coming out from Honey, it's gonna be a while coming from them. And I think they're out of smokes right now. They can't really put up the pressure because they did lose the gem, and losing that gem is a really big deal too. I don't really know why they had it on them, because Klinks is just really difficult to kill to begin with. He has like 1600 HP with death pack. That's not really a full death pack, it looks like. And then he has the Aegis on him too, and he has Windwalk and Orchid, all these things that you don't really want to deal with. It's just much easier to find a kill on Nature's Prophet or the 2 supports.
It looks like we were right, my friend, between the 2 of us. I have Black. He was in 2nd place behind Fnatic, and Scandal. Good call. He was in 3rd. He didn't quite have 15 though. He had 12.
Yeah. I had never seen Black play it, but I haven't. I've seen him play like Phantom Lancer and Anti-Mage so many times.
Oh yeah. Now there was definitely a time when Black played the hell out of some Klinks. I remember it very vaguely. You have to go back to like the beginning of my casting career, going back like Dota casting career anyway. But anyway, we can see Na'Vi taking down yet another tower and just continuing to strangle away any map control they would hope to have. I mean, is there any chance here? I mean, back in the captain's chair.
I mean, if they overextend again, like Na'Vi had the game when they had the gem the first time, and then he had it. Puppy about to die.
Up, the nice stun comes out. Caught 2 with it, and the freezing field going to go up because of it. Era infests through it, but the damage output just way too much as Havos is just completely eviscerating this Fnatic squad. No one can stand up to it. Behind, we see Era cleaned up after being sprouted in, and Havos going to go ahead and pursue down, and he actually manages to get the Aegis, but not before a triple kill is notched by him. Now Era lands in, and hey, nice little turnaround there. Dendi jumps in and wants to go toe-to-toe, and 4 staffs there to get him back to safety. So it ends up being a 3-for-2 trade, but they did get an Aegis in the process. However, they're going to lose their last vestige of map control as the tier 2 mid ends up dropping nonetheless.
Yeah, Klinks is not the best Aegis carrier. He's kind of like Alchemist, where if you come back up after a death, you're not going to have your ultimate on you. So, I mean, giving it to Havos is nice and all, but it didn't really do that much there. Nice hook by Pudge to clean them up there. Next Roshan gonna respawn in a little bit. That's gonna be the Aegis Cheese too, and that may very well spell the end of this game. 25,000 gold lead for Na'Vi, and even though the kills are relatively close, like look at Fnatic's mission. They're just like huddled around their base, like barely extending outside of the T3s, and meanwhile Na'Vi can just farm the whole entire map. Track kills don't really matter when they have this many Midases and this much map control.
Yeah, very much agree. And they're just going to be able to fall back and farm now. Almost a deso done on Dendi. In fact, almost is an understatement. He has it basically by sitting and sucking his thumb for 10 seconds. Fnatic, in the meantime, that book 3's been done for a while. Looks like he's on his way to a Scythe of Ice. Already has the ultimate orb up. Puppy, Mechanism, Drums. And I'll tell you what's fun is watching late game Puppy on Crystal Maiden. Couple of times I've seen him just go pure tank Crystal Maiden. Get like a BKB, Drums. Saw him get a Heart one game. Like, he just goes berserk, and I've seen him have more than 2,000 HP on Crystal Maiden at least 2 times that I can recollect just in the somewhat recent past.
Oh, they might find Dendi here, and he has a gem, but if he doesn't blink out in time, he is dead.
And up. Dendi blinking just in time now, looking to re-engage. Out goes Era. No tail. Will be able to TP away. Track onto Fnatic. Dendi's going to go ahead and pursue it out, though. And as you mentioned, the fast fingers there for Dendi to ensure he stays safe as they chase Fnatic back out. Oh, and by the way, just another kill, just kind of cuz Havos actually spins his BKB now. And Sentry goes down as he's going to Skeleton Walk away back to safety. There's a hook, and Havos cleaned up because of it. Very well shot by Hani. Best he's had. Puppy, though, going to use the freezing field, and look at the damage output. We actually saw Nahaz talking about this in one of his little awesome stats pop-ins. Puppy's instincts on when to use that, knowing when stuns are and aren't available on the other side. Better than any player on the planet, according to the stats, averages more than 500 damage per match on Crystal Maiden with just Freezing Field. And on the back of that, down goes our first tier 3, and down goes our first set of racks.
Yeah, versus Mass Ghost Scepter's Crystal Maiden's ultimate is very, very effective, and I don't really think they counter for that, but it's the best they can do to try and survive this onslaught from the farm Na'Vi heroes. And looks like we're going to a game 3.
Na'Vi will not be brought down and swept out of the playoffs as they put the finishing touches on what is certainly going to be a Game 2 victory. Yep, there it is. Fly calls the GG. And Na'Vi, who was up against it, manages to battle back and give us a Game 3 here in our second round of the Western Division Bubble Race Playoffs. Fnatic and Na'Vi going the distance. And really in both games, it's been pretty lopsided affairs, Merlini. And both teams playing for a lot. Just for those who are maybe not familiar with the Bubble Race Playoff system, every series in the Bubble Race Playoffs is an elimination series. It's all based on seeding from the group stage. Fnatic and Virtus.pro were 4th and 5th seed. Na'Vi awaited the winner, which was Fnatic. And Team Liquid awaits the winner of this. And that'll be our best of 5 finals for our playoffs coming up on Thursday. Both of these teams looking to fight their way in. So break this down as best you can. I think we both agree. Pudge not nearly active enough. They didn't get nearly enough out of the bounty. Era started coming to fights too late. What else went wrong?
The early rotations from the supports were too much for Fnatic. They had a early first blood on the bounty hunter on top from the Crystal Maiden and the Alchemist kind of babysat Dendi in mid, and then I think one of the supports came to help out Visage, I think, but they just had too many come in. They just kept rotating in heroes and they got too far behind. They really had to snowball, get that early lead, and they were at a kill deficit by the time bounty hunter hit level 6, and you just can't let that happen because they have the worst late game. Na'Vi got Midases, game over.
Took them 29 minutes, 47 seconds to seal the deal here. 17-24, a 41-kill game in 29 minutes. We've had a lot of action between these two teams. And I'll tell you what's fun, as Nahaz pointed out earlier, these two teams have met 8 times in the last 2 weeks, and they've actually split those 8 meetings 4 and 4 apiece. So not just a spot in the playoffs, but a little bit of bragging rights on the line between Fnatic and Na'Vi here today. I'm your host, Aaron AC Chambers. Thanks for being a part of the broadcast, guys. Again, this is our second and final Western broadcast of today. Winner of this advances to the finals of our playoffs to meet Team Liquid coming up on Thursday. That voice you're hearing on the other end, that's, of course, Ben Merlini Wu. Make sure you check us both out on Twitter. I'm at AC. He's at Merlini Dota. And we still got a lot more Dota coming up throughout this evening following the conclusion of our Western series. Our Eastern bubble race will kick off with DK versus Tongfu starting right around 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So hope you guys can join us for that. For now, though, thrilling Game 3 on the way as Fnatic and Na'Vi butt heads once again, this time with their playoff lives on the line here in the HyperX D2L. Stick with us. We'll be back with Game 3 in just a moment.